very important brief education. Thank you for tuning in for our second episode. The CDC, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, suggests that people who do not receive plain language health information or who cannot read or cannot read well often have health issues. There's evidence also that suggests that boys read less than girls. This episode of V.I.B.E focuses on the health of boys and the literacy of boys. We not just want to focus on the health of boys, but we want to focus on their future as well. So, without further ado, we want to be brief, but we want to be educated. So let's get rolling. We have our crew again. We have Mr. Alex right here, tuning in with us again, Mr. Cedric. And we have a special guest, Miss LaKendra Mitchell, the world traveler. You know, she's one of our local educators here in Southeast Texas, and she's going to tell a little bit about herself. Then we're going to talk about education in boys and how it relates to their health. So tell us about yourself.
Okay, well, first of all, good evening. Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
So I've been in education for, I think, about 14 years now. Started in 2005. I do have my bachelor's degree is in education and a master's degree in school counseling. And I've been a teacher and a counselor for the past 14 years.
Awesome, awesome. That's really cool. You know, we appreciate you coming by. You know, giving some education for us. You know, so we can know more about how boys about their education. Like I started off, there is a lot of research that suggests that people who don't get the right health, whose literacy levels are not right, may also have health issues. Why is it important for boys to read more, or why is education and literacy so important nowadays?
Education and literacy is important because it is needed. There's not a day goes by when you don't use your reading skills, maybe not always just reading, but some type of skills related to reading comprehension, vocabulary of some sort. But those literacy skills are needed in everyday life. So it is important for all kids, but especially our young men, because that's where the gap is, to have a good grasp on the various literacy skills.
Wow, that's interesting. You know, I have daughters. These two gentlemen, they have sons, and so, you know, a son between them, you know, so, you know, just, you're a ninth grade counselor?
Ninth grade counselor.
Your sons are around that age, and how is it for them academically, not giving any personal details, but how are they?
Teenagers, I mean, academically, you know, they don't sometimes do what they're not supposed to do, but at the same time, you know, that's what we have these sessions about, is educating, you know, everyone, including our children, on the things that they need to be doing correctly. And as you said before, the CDC has said that, you know, we obviously have a problem with, you know, the males and some of their reading, and that can also affect, like you said, their everyday life. If you can't understand the instructions on your medication, how can you take it properly? So that's going to affect your everyday life, because you're incapable of understanding and comprehending something as simple as an instruction on a medication bottle. So it's very important, you know, and we, again, need to have these discussions and address, you know, situations in our community, and not only with males, but with, you know, everybody. It's just a topic this week happened to be the males, because evidently the CDC said we don't like to read.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier that it was more than just reading. It's a lot of things. So as far as your son is concerned, you know, do you find that they have it? Are they talking about education, or what do they say? What does your son say?
Well, my son, he's a good reader, and I think he appreciates what I do. I make him sit down and read. You know, we go to the library, get him books, and before I came here, I read an article about how only 10% of black 8th grade boys read proficiently, compared to 46 white 8th grade boys. So I think, you know, just as parents, we've got to add it to their schedule. Like right now, I have my son, he maintains a calendar for the last 3 years. And with his classes and things like that. And I think a lot of it has to do with the parents, you know, just making sure reading is part of their schedule, make it fun. And another article I read, I'm from Mississippi, and a lot of the textbooks in school didn't include a lot of Black history. And sometimes it doesn't make for an interesting read for young Black boys. So, you know, as time passed, they started adding more and more, but I think they could still add a lot more to it to make it interesting. If you're always reading about people that didn't look like you, and, you know, it kind of almost can make you feel insignificant almost, and it's just not interesting to read. So I think, you know, we just need to make sure, especially Mississippi, states like Mississippi, just need to keep updating the textbooks with current history. Like when I was in college in the early 2000s, I remember Tupac was in my history book. His mom was a Black Panther, I believe. And you know, and that was because back when I was in school in the 80s, you know, when the world, I mean, I saw Tupac or anything like that in there. So
something's going to draw your attention.
Right,
to.
right.
So,
Right,
you know,
right.
and it's good that you guys are active. You guys are active in your son's life, and you know, and their education as well. Well, but a lot of parents are not as active.
Yeah.
So how can we pull our parents into education more, into literacy more, and improve the process?
A lot of it we have to show importance and value. If the parents don't value it, or they don't think it's important, they're not going to care about it. And a lot of time is, unfortunately, we have a lot of parents who they feel like education should only be taught at school, or reading should only be taught at school. And if the teacher didn't teach it, if you didn't learn it at school, then what else can I do? But then it also goes back to a lot of parents. It's not that they don't care about their kids. A lot of them just don't know.
Right,
And instead of
exactly.
admitting to their child, I can't read, I can't do that, I'm just going to tell you, do it at school.
Right.
Well, let your teacher figure that out, because they don't want to be honest with their child, and they don't want to, you know, get their child or get themselves the help that they need. But parents, there's a couple things that you said that I want to piggyback off of, and mainly parents have to get involved. They have to. There's no other way. The older a child gets, you can self-motivate them. And, you know, when I talk to my ninth graders now, I talk to them about what is your motivation. You know, this is the beginning of your high school career. You have a couple more years left, and you're an adult. So now it's not about what your parents want. It's not about what your parents did or did not do. What do you want to do now? You know, we have to shift to that type of conversation. What are you going to do about it? Now, what your parents are going to do, what are you going to do about it? If you're failing your English class, if you don't understand these concepts, okay, how are you going to do it? What are you going to do to fix it? Now, what your parents are going to do. So that comes with maturity. Another thing you said was making especially with young Black boys, making them interested in the reading. When I was a 7th grade teacher, that was one thing that I said I was going to want to do. Find books that my Black boys would like. And I did. And it did help a lot. It didn't help everything, but it did help a lot in the classroom. So I was able to find textbooks that were interesting to them. If they find things that are interesting to them, then they will read. They will read. It's just all about what interests them, and making and giving them that exposure. And also, it's all about not stigmatizing and not putting all Black boys in one group.
Right.
We have some young Black men who are very interested in Harry Potter and
Right.
things of that nature, but it's not cool to be
Right.
interested
And
in
that's
that.
what I was about to comment on too.
So I'd rather not read
Yeah.
that. Even
In
though I'm
our
interested in it.
community, a lot of times we, you know, I don't know if it's happened to anybody, but in our school, people made fun of the so-called nerds. And see, we have to
We
move
have to get
past
past
that.
that.
So,
Because
but
they're
again,
glorifying the rappers,
Exactly.
and they're glorifying
Again.
the gangsters. But the real rappers and the real gangsters were educated. We
Exactly.
talked about Tupac. Tupac was educated.
Exactly.
Jay-Z is educated.
Exactly.
2 Chainz is educated.
Exactly.
Lil Wayne is educated. Like, they may not always show their education, but if you really just listen
Right.
to some of the music and the words that they say,
Right,
these young men are educated.
right, exactly.
So coming forth with things like that, those are powerhouse people that you named, if they were able to come forth with more, you know, those hero, Jay-Z,
Mhm.
I know they have probably programs out there. Do they have any programs that promote their education, or is there
As
anything?
far as those rappers, I really don't know.
Isn't
I'm
there,
sure, but I don't really.
isn't there a rapper at the University of Houston?
And V.I.B.E,
V.I.B.E, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know what he teaches, but,
he's at the University of Houston or Rice, but he
okay.
does teach a college class.
I think it related to hip hop and religion, if I'm not
Uh-huh.
mistaken.
Like that.
So that really shows the education that hip hop artists are showing,
Exactly.
that the culture is showing.
Yeah.
So paying attention to more of that
Well, and
aspect of
also
it
it's-
versus the gangster
it's-
side.
You know, it's making it cool again. You know what
Okay.
I'm saying?
All right.
It's making it cool again. It's making it, you know, acceptable to be that educated person. You know what I'm saying? Instead of the other side, okay, let's be this other guy. Yeah, he's popular, but he's, you know, he's not focusing on education or anything. See, so it makes it cool again, you know, and a lot of times in our community, that's what we look for. You know, I know for my son, in order for us to motivate him to be more active in school, it was sports for him. So, yeah, and of course, you know, you can't play if you're not passing. You know, that's a motivation factor too. But he wanted to play sports. So that's the tool that we used to get him to be more focused on his education and be more, you know,
So
thinking more about, you know, reading. And
tying some things in.
Exactly,
with it.
tying some things in that'll make it more, like you said before, interesting, fun, you know,
Right.
something that they'll be motivated, you know, to do better, you know.
I-
Rather than, you know, something negative to where, like he was saying, you only saw other people
Right.
that were, you know, doing great things. Now you're looking at people that look like you, and you're dealing with people that you can relate to. So it
You
helps.
can
You brought
make
up
it
something that I was thinking about while I was sitting here. I was thinking about, I don't know if y'all have all seen that movie, Coach Carter.
Yes.
And when he locked the basketball, they were undefeated, and he locked them out, and all those parents started losing their minds. And I couldn't personally, I mean, I understand, yeah, I want my son to be a basketball star, but I know, I feel like I'm educated enough to know if he breaks his leg and ruins his career,
That's it.
what's he gonna fall back on?
It
I
needs that
could not
education.
understand how these parents could not understand what Samuel L. Jackson was trying to do here, or the coach was trying to do
Well,
there.
and then
Values.
that part of the movie showed an actual aspect that we deal with in our
Right.
culture.
I think
You know,
that's
we're
what
pushing-
it is.
we're pushing
It's
our
only
kids.
in our community.
Exactly.
It is only in our community.
Yes.
You know?
And it's, you know,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, very unfortunate.
More, you mean like on a large scale, yeah.
On a
for the
large
most
scale,
part,
like,
yeah,
you know,
you're right,
parents,
yeah.
not really that they're valuing
Mm.
extracurricular or sports over education, but if you look at, go to these football games, these basketball games, and then also come to parent Title I meetings or parent meetings that every Title I school has. Every Title I school has a parent meeting or requires to have parent meetings once a month. And in these meetings, you have the teachers there, you have administrators there, you have people that they bring in to let you know this is what's going on in school, this is how you can help your child. They teach the parents how to teach their students, and no one shows up.
No, exactly.
Wow.
But they'll
No,
show up for that. They'll show up.
Okay.
They'll show up for
Yes.
that meeting with the cheerleading moms. They'll show up for that meeting with if, you know, they got a problem
That's
with
the
the
problem.
coach.
So we
They'll
have
show up for
That's
technology.
the problem
We
right
have, we
there.
have technology. We have a lot of different things that are out there. We have a local principal who's reading over Facebook. You know, there are a lot of different creative things out there. So just thinking outside of the box as we close for this episode, what do you think from your experience, just thinking outside of the box, that would be something real, something people will value, something that will be relatable, you know, something to make it cool again. You know, so what do you think is out there that may be something that we could research and take a look at that may help parents and just the community? So we're talking about education and literacy, and we're back with Ms. LaKendra Mitchell, and she has some solutions to share with us about literacy and some things that were outside of the box that we can share with Southeast Texas.
I think one thing that's important for our students and our parents to know or to utilize the resources that we have. So every school in the district, in Beaumont, Port Arthur, Orange, whatever the case may be, has those resources. They have tutorial programs, and they have, they have after-school programs, and they also have programs within the school to help with, whatever needs the student may have. They also have programs to help the parents. So I think if parents reach out to their schools, what resources do you have to help my child? And if the school, for whatever reason, doesn't have a resource, or you're not, happy with them, they use the resources within the community. Look around your neighborhood for that retired teacher, or in your church for that retired principal, or someone, that college student that needs the volunteer hours. Use your resources to get that help for yourself, and if not for yourself, for your child. There are also tutoring centers within the city, the QMON and the Civil Learning Center, places like that. So just use your resources. Don't think that there's nothing there to help my child. There's a lot going on to help myself and my child. Another thing to kind of think outside the box to see what we can do with this literacy is exposure. Our students have to be exposed. They have to know that there's life, there's more to life outside of Southeast Texas and outside of Houston and Dallas and just Texas and Louisiana. The world is so much bigger. It's even bigger than the United States, and the kids must know their possibilities. And I think once the parents realize that my child has the opportunity to do this and my child has the opportunity to do that, then they would invest more. They'll put more into their child. So exposure, you have to, when you see that your child can sing, or when you see that your child can dance, you expose them to
People who can sing.
people who can sing, people who can dance, and you're bringing them to auditions, and you find the best dance school for them. The same thing with education, like find those things for them. We have museums in Southeast Texas. We have museums everywhere, like expose them to that. Don't put your child in a box. A lot of parents, I was good at sports, so my child has to be good at sports. That's not always the case. I wasn't good at math, so my child not gonna be good at math. That's not always the case. So don't put your child into a box. Expose them. Let them see things that you didn't think was possible.
So the resources, everybody, and
Resources.
also the exposure. Hey, we want to thank you for allowing us to for you to come by. We thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
We thank you for your time, Ms. Mitchell, world-renowned educator. We thank you for thank you for tuning in to V.I.B.E. Very important brief education. We want to thank my man Al again.